You're still here with us in The Habits. In the Philippines, we commemorate Indigenous Peoples Month every October. Meanwhile, in the local church, we celebrate Indigenous People Sunday every second Sunday of October, highlighting the importance of being in solidarity with the struggle for self-determination of our brothers and sisters from the indigenous cultural communities.
That's right, Sister Happy. And among us in the consecrated life, many have dedicated their time in their lives, even in serving and journeying with our indigenous peoples. And now, gracing our newly reformated show, we will listen to Sister ARISTEA or THEA BAUTISTA of the Franciscan Missionaries of Mary as she have it spoken.
So I'm Sister ARISTEA Bautista, Franciscan Missionaries of Mary. And I am already 66 years old in my senior years, but very happy for the gift of God, for a calling to the congregation, and a special calling to the ministry with the indigenous peoples. I have worked with the indigenous peoples for the past 28 years. First 2 years with the Aitas in Zambales, 1 year with the Subanens in Pagadian, and the longest period is 25 years with the Mangyans in Occidental Mindoro. The journey of my vocation is from the mundane and the sophisticated milieu, because I was a certified public accountant and I work as auditor of SGV before I became a sister. And that is where God took me. In all the sophistication of this life, I felt the strong attraction for that which is simple and pristine, for that which is really in communion with the Creator. And God found His way to bring me to this congregation. Even in the earlier years as a sister, I was in the finance job because that is my line. But later on, our superiors were understanding enough when I explained to them that, you know, in my heart, I really long to work directly with the poor. And maybe while I am still strong and my legs can still carry me up to the mountains, it is the time to heed the call. And understanding enough, there was nothing wrong with the desire. They told me, but you know only finance. What will you do with the poor? And so they asked me to study first community development in the University of the Philippines. But to any mission to which we are called, I believe it is God's way of shaping us into what He has destined us to be. I didn't know later on I will go into IP ministry. In the world where I come from the city, we had no province. I never knew they really existed at all. Until I became a sister, and some of our sisters, the late Carmen Balaso, had worked with the Aitas in Zambales. And the encounter with the IPs stirred in me a certain attraction. There was something pristine, something real, something authentic, something simple. And they, aside from being interesting, I felt they were saying much to me. They were bringing across to me part of myself which was hidden by the sophistication of city life. And so I was very happy when I was assigned to the indigenous peoples. The longest was with the Mangyans of Occidental Mindoro. And as I said, in any mission that God has sent you, He is shaping you. The encounter with the indigenous peoples were also a way by which God strengthened my calling as a Franciscan Missionary of Mary. In them, I learned what it truly means to be a Franciscan. It is not in the books and it is not in the sessions, but in the encounter and dialogue of life with them. I learned also the depth of my faith. Because in the initial encounters with the IPs, they were asking me, Sister, why did you choose to live with us? We know you are not used to the mountain. We find you having difficulty climbing up and coping with the rigors of the life there. Maybe the place where you came from, you will not eat the food that we eat, and you will not live in a hut where we live. And God gave me the words to answer them. The same words that I have spoken spoke to me. I just find myself saying, you know, the God to whom I have chosen to give myself, He did the same for us. He became one like us. He lived among us. He journeyed with us in life. And maybe that is the basic inspiration of the FMM's journeying among you. So when we came to the village, we also had a hut like them. We live inside the place where the Mangyans live. We moved and worked and had our encounter with them in the ordinary life. Because we saw that in a context where Christians for the Mangyans was negative. No? The concept of Christian is one who takes advantage of them in trade, one who looks down upon them, one who takes away their land. For them, that is Christian. And in the face of that context, there is no way to preach. The only way to bring across the true face of Christ is by witness and by living among them. And so that was the ministry that we started. It was a dialogue of life and dialogue of faith. And many of the baggages that were there before slowly fell. No? It's different when you have the concept of these people are poor, these people are dirty, they are foul-smelling. But things change when you meet faces. And when you begin to hear the stories of their life, much more when you hear the wisdom that they have to say from such a life that they have lived through. So basically, I saw as we shaped them, God was shaping us. If I will relate one story, I learned to them how to be a Franciscan. One day, the sisters were going around to the rice field of the Mangyans, and they have just harvested. And when you have harvested, the stalks are still there. And one Mangyan brought his baby, and he let him down on the ground with all the stalks. And the sisters were jumping up and down. Oh, what are you doing to your baby? He will get rashes. It is dirty. Why do you allow him to crawl on the earth? And the Mangyan, with a serene, wide smile, looked up at us and told us, you know, sister, I want my boy to grow up learning that the earth is his friend. Because when he grows up, he will be able to know that it is the earth that gives him food. And it had perplexed us. I was asking, who is really Franciscan? So many things we have really learned in the encounter with them, even in the reverence for creation, which is also part of our spirituality. Creation is not a thing for them or something outside of their life. It is something that they relate with, something that has soul, and something which they do not own. Actually, they call the God May-ari. When we go to the forest and they will take anything, they will have their prayer or ritual to ask the permission of May-ari, the owner, that I will take your produce, I will do something with your creation. Such kind of reverence, where in the sophisticated world, everything has value because it has a monetary price. So these are the valuable lessons that come in our encounter with the indigenous peoples. In the encounter also, I experienced sometimes they are more Christian than us. We share our excess. We share what is overabundance. But one time when I was in a fishing village, and they were for weeks they had no catch, and I didn't know it was like that in fishing. No, I haven't been there. And one evening the community was teeming with joy. I looked out and I saw one of them had a catch. But to my wonder and surprise, at his door people were teeming and he was giving away fish. And here is the sister, "Oh, can you not keep some for tomorrow? You can have dried fish." And yet, he smiled again at me and told me, "You know, sister, we do not care if there is nothing to eat for tomorrow. The important thing is that this evening, everyone will have a taste of fish." And then I ask myself again, now who is Christian? So many of the conceptions about the indigenous peoples as being pagan and as having no faith are falling down. Because in the deep encounter with them, we experience how sharing had no limits. The encounter with the IPs is a very rich exchange. It is not only they learning from us, but we learning from them. It is not only we bringing God across to them, but we encountering God in them. It is not only we bringing knowledge to them, but they bringing us the wisdom of life which we have forgotten. And it's a very enriching and meaningful experience in life. Over and over again, I say thanks to God for the privilege and the blessing to live among them. I am Sister THEA BAUTISTA, a Franciscan Missionary of Mary, and I have it spoken.
Wow, that was a very powerful sharing from Sister ARISTEA or THEA BAUTISTA of the Franciscan Missionaries of Mary, a longtime missionary to the indigenous cultural communities. Any thoughts? Ano ang masasabi mo sa sharing ni Sister THEA?
Natakot ako dun sa tanong mo. Pero, you know, I really felt yung story niya, no? Ito yung maganda sa bago nating segment. We will really hear real stories from the habit itself.
That's why habit spoken.
Yes. Ako gusto ko yung binanggit niya na yung mga kapatid nating katutubo, ang tawag nila sa Mindoro ay may-ari.
May-ari.
Kasi
The
totoo
owner.
naman eh. Even though God doesn't want us to really consider that He owns this environment or planet, pero siya naman talaga yung lumikha. And if we really respect Him, katulad ng mga kapatid nating katutubo, magpapaalam tayo. Bibigay natin yung pinakamataas na paggalang doon sa may-ari. Ikaw?
Actually, while she was sharing, listening to her sharing, I remember that experience kasi when I finished my degree course, my thesis was about I was in exposure with the Talaandig tribe in Bukidnon. And yung mga sharing niya na, what was it? Like, it's not we who are bringing knowledge to them, but staying with them, she gained wisdom. Yung mga sinasabi niya, mga ganun. And I find it very interesting and very inspiring. At the same time, yung sinabi niya, nagkwento siya na the people were there guarding them, and they felt like tabernacle inside the house. That's security. But how do people protect them? Siguro for us, like, we felt like, you know, these people, some of them, they don't read or they don't say much, and yet they have much. They have much wisdom about life, at the same time about the society, how they help one another, how they support one another, and the wisdom that they have in them.
And of course, the idea that we are not the one bringing Jesus.
Yes.
But we encounter Jesus
In them.
in them. Ayan. Salamat, and I'm sure that like the two of us, many also of our viewers were moved by the sharing of Sister Thea. So please, let us know what you think, mga kahabits. For comments or suggestions, please do not hesitate to contact us via Facebook at facebook.com/amrsp.org.
At Kahabits, don't forget to click like and subscribe, and also follow us in our other social media pages. We are on YouTube. Look us up, AMRSP Media, where you can also catch our weekly broadcasts of the Holy Rosary and the Holy Eucharist.
Catch us also as we begin our telecast on TV Maria every Sunday nights at 9:30 p.m. with replays every Thursdays at 10 p.m. Kaya mga kahabits, let us stay connected.
Again, we wish to thank Sister Thea Bautista, FMM, for her Habit Spoken segment tonight. Next week, join us again as we explore consecrated life, the church, the world, and the society. This has been your Kahabit Sister Happy Montecillo of the Daughters of St. Anne.
Thank you very much for joining our new and improved episode. This is your Kahabit Father Angel Cortez of the Order of Friars Minor, signing off from your weekly inspiration and information companion. We have been
The Habits.